Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they've pledged you a lifelong commitment. The Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Kermitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm, once again, Sam Schultz. After all these years.
Still, Sam Schultz. This week we are back. We're, brushing off the cobwebs, blowing off the dust. We are back to record an episode of a podcast, something we have not done in about 2 months.
Yep.
We are also, if we, get distracted at any point during this episode, you're like, what are those boys doing? We are also recording this live in front of our Patreon patrons on a live stream for the first time ever. So they're watching us right now. We'll have a little bit of a Q&A segment later on in the podcast with them. But Sam, May 11th is the last time we recorded. For those listening, it's July 27th right now.
That sucks. That's so long, but it didn't take any time. That's what I've talked about this, I'm sure, on the show before. But you remember when you were in high school, sitting in a class, looking at the clock, being like, "Dear God, it's been 5 minutes of 1 hour. How could I possibly live through this?" And now it's like months just go pow, pow, pow. What are we supposed to do?
I think that's the rest of our lives.
Yeah. That probably is worse when you got a baby, too.
Oh, it's so much worse. She's like 9 weeks old. And like that, in the grand scheme of things, you mentioned 9 weeks. You're like, oh, yeah, that was 9 weeks ago. It's like, well, whatever. This is a human life we're talking about.
Yeah.
And like, I can look back at pictures of her at 3 weeks and I'm like, that's a different kid. She looks different. She acts different. She wakes up one morning and she's like, it's like she got a software update overnight and she just like knows more things. And I'm like, whoa, you're looking at me now and you're grabbing my beard. This is weird.
Yeah. Even just knowing kids, like I know a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old that I hang out with a lot. And it's just like every time I see them, it's like, you learned how to talk in like the week since I've seen you. What the heck?
Yeah, it's very bizarre. Especially, I think with such I had not had a lot of experience around newborns. Like I had family members who have babies who I get to hold them when they're a week or two old or something like that, or maybe even probably older, to be fair. But being around a baby who's like 3 days old and just being like, oh yeah, you are just a potato. You're a lump. Just sitting there. You know nothing. You can't do anything. You can barely even make noises with your mouth. And good. Like I'm here, I guess, to help. But mostly all you do is eat and poop. So
yeah, not much I could do to help with that except give you the food and get rid of the poop.
But yeah, now she's getting into, recognizing faces and having favorite toys to look at and play with. And it's kind of wild how much things change just in 9 weeks and knowing that essentially doesn't stop forever.
Yeah.
Now is very strange.
Has it changed you on a deep, deep level as a human being?
I mean, yeah.
I would say,
yeah.
I mean...
Please, are you going to answer this question for me?
The fact that I think the first time I saw you post a Morpet, I was like, he's still Matt. There's nothing changing this guy.
I mean, maybe that's me clinging to the Matt inside and being like, is he still in there? Can he still make a Morpet?
He is, because you made the best Morpet. For people who don't know, Morpets are these horrible CG or photoshopped mashups of two different Muppets that Matt makes, and you can see them on our website, kermitment.com. But when I saw you do that, I was like, yeah, he still got Matt thoughts. He did not turn to only baby. Well, because the Morpets are your babies too.
They're my first babies. The other thing about the early days of having the kiddo home was that there was many, many more hours where she's just laying there doing nothing or sleeping, and you do have a lot more free time. There is times when obviously that's filled with laundry and dishes and housekeeping, and there's other times it's filled with Muppets. So,
or just sitting on your sofa because you got a baby on top of you. So
Ooh,
you
yeah, we'll
have to watch an
definitely-
F1 race at 4:00 in the morning. You don't have any other choice now.
we'll definitely get into what we've been watching. We haven't said why we're here. The title might give it away a little bit. Who knows what we call this one? But we are here today to not only dust off our podcast microphones, but just to catch up a little bit. And we
It's a
figured,
proof of life. We're going to hold up today's newspaper.
yeah, do not call in a wellness check on us. We are good.
We're fine. We're
We're
fine.
fine. We promise we're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, wanted to catch up with each other, but also wanted to just, we miss podcasting a little bit. So we wanted to let you all know what we're up to. We did not watch any Muppet stuff to discuss today, so there won't be a Hey Sam, what did we watch this week?
Yeah.
We're pretty much skipping to the end of the episode where we say, what non-Muppet stuff did you enjoy this week?
Everybody's favorite part, I'm sure. My favorite part, when I get to that part editing and I'm like, there's 30 minutes left, I want to die.
Well, thankfully, for those that do enjoy that part of the podcast, that's pretty much today's episode, is just talking about what we've been up to over the past couple months, what has kept us so busy, and we will discuss the things we've been watching and listening to or playing in the meantime. Has that been some Muppets? Has that not been any Muppets? Listen to
Interesting.
find out.
Somebody in the chat says, well, some people said they love that part. Somebody said they like the lawn mowing updates. I do love to talk about mowing the lawn.
See, this is the great part of doing this live is we get the feedback immediately, and now we know we have to include a yard work segment.
I had some tense moments with my lawn for my wedding, so
Ooh.
that was a big factor. I was really lawn boy this summer. But yeah, speaking of missing podcasting, I know I've said this a million times, and I said this before we started recording. This is the longest I've gone without podcasting since Tangent started, probably like 8-9 years ago. I don't know when Tangent started, but I had not, like, I'd taken weeks off here and there, but this long stretch, and it's been tough on me, so tough on me, Matt, that I've written up ideas for 3 different podcasts.
So you're trying to replace this podcast with a different podcast to fill that podcast-shaped hole in your heart.
Yeah, but really, I'm just going to have too many, and then I'll just be a really sad guy.
I mean, okay, so Tangent started in 2018. So yeah, you've been going consistently since then because you've had a couple different podcasts. You had Real Love, which was your movie podcast with your wife. Well,
I always had tangents. Yeah, I had Real Love, this one. That's it. Right.
Well, we would do episodes of Real Bad, Nick Jenkins' movie podcast.
That's right.
For a while, I had a podcast called I Love It that sort of died out because of COVID. And because I had, at the time, this was pre-COVID when I was making the podcast called I Love It. And it was based on having my friends into a podcast studio to discuss things they loved. It's a very good podcast, I think. It's still on Bandcamp. If you want to search out I Love It podcast, you can find that on Bandcamp. All the episodes are there. At that time, people weren't as used to podcasting remotely. They were pretty much only podcasting in person. So when COVID hit, I was like, I don't know how to podcast now. So that kind of killed it. But also, I had run out of friends in town who wanted to, like, it was basically I was pulling teeth at this point where everyone had their first idea that they wanted to talk about, and I Love It. And then I was having to ask people, like, do you have like a second thing though?
I don't like anything else. I only like Transformers.
Well, and because
is that what I talked about? What I
talked about TMNT.
Yes,
because you brought your big box of toys to the podcast studio.
Box. Yeah. Brother, I couldn't fit my big box of toys in the podcast studio anymore.
Just filled the entire podcast
Cooler
studio.
Than Homework.
Cooler Than Homework was a podcast that is not technically dead. There is an episode we recorded maybe literally almost a year ago that has never been released yet.
I remember that. I was excited.
Yeah. Well, it's the hilarious part of that is I looked back at the emails and because I was like, oh, we recorded that a while ago. How long? It was recorded on the day we found out we were having a kid.
Whoa.
And now we have a kid.
Wow.
So that shows you how long it's been since we actually recorded that episode.
That'll happen
of the podcast.
sometimes. That'll happen. I also had a little known podcast on the Real Love feed called Count Snackula, where me and Rachel ate
Yes.
Halloween candy,
That was one
novelty
that
Halloween candy.
not that I didn't love Real Love, but I think my favorite Real Love episodes were the snack episodes. Aside from when you would eat into the microphone, because that was
right. You know what?
absolute
I love when people
terror.
eat on a microphone. So,
Oh my god,
different strokes for different folks, man.
Yeah, I think it's very like specific want that people come for, and I am not that person. Hank recently made a video on one of his Vlogbrothers or Hank's channel videos where he was talking about food stuff and was just eating throughout, and I was like, sir, you must stop.
I sympathize completely that most people
but you're
like
a gross
that.
little man who likes that stuff.
I genuinely can't put myself in the shoes of somebody who doesn't like that. But, well, I don't want to get into it anymore than that.
Yeah, I had some questions I think
it.
queued up in my head, but
anyway,
I think they're unimportant and maybe too revealing. So
anyway, we're podcast boys, basically, at the end of the day. And maybe you'll hear more about these other ones that I have cooking in the old brain. You'll definitely hear more about one of them towards the end of the show.
Yeah. I'm curious now. I'm trying to think back to the first podcast I ever did.
I was probably with Nick on, or me and Rachel maybe on Real. I'm not actually sure either.
My first podcast that I can remember doing was 2013. It was called the Foffcast with Byron McCoy, who you know, who is our merch guy now. Maddie Kerr and Dennis Weber, some local Missoula legends. And they had a podcast that was just friends hanging out back in the day, and that's how I actually met Maddie Kerr, one of my all-time best friends now, because he was a co-host on that podcast, and I had met Byron through working at DFWBA. They invited me on that podcast, and so I was a guest on that podcast. And
then you had a podcast with Maddie too.
Yeah, not that much longer. Me and Maddie started our own podcast. So I think my first podcast that I can remember doing was 2013. I am sure I did something before that, maybe, but
yeah. Mine was probably Holy Fucking Science, actually.
Ooh, yeah. We did a lot of Holy Fucking Science back in the day. That's a show that I feel like is still out there.
Get rid of. We have to get rid of the show. The show must be destroyed. We were drinking beer. I don't know what we talked about.
Well, and I don't think we said anything horrible, but I know for sure the point of that show was to not be smart, essentially.
Yep.
Like it was to come in very excited about scientific topics that you had spent 3 minutes Googling. And then present to a group of people who you could impress. But then if they asked a single follow-up question, it fell apart.
Yeah. That's why, that's why I got reformatted to Tangents, where there were two smart people than me.
Well, aside from not podcasting, we have been filling our time actually with activities, outings, births of children.
I've been working. Don't remember what that's like.
Sorry. To be fair, I do often forget that people are currently working, because I have been on parental leave since May, and you know what day it is, what time it is, I rarely know.
Isn't that a nice feeling? Don't you feel like you're like a medieval peasant or something?
It maybe is a little bit more of like freewheeling bohemian Venice Beach kind of guy, where I'm like, is it Wednesday? I don't know, man. I don't wear a tie.
Island Matt.
Yeah, but it's often I'm reminded of it when I will text a friend a question or something like that. I'm sure you've been on the receiving end of this many times, and it's like, they haven't responded in a while. And I'm like, right, because it's 3 p.m. on a Thursday. They're working. Yeah.
I'll take any excuse not to actually work that hard.
Yeah, to be fair, Sam, I think, responds quicker to texts during the workday than he does at night.
I think that's probably true. I'm desperate for something. I need, what's that called when you give a cat like a toy? Or the dog, the thing to lick with the peanut butter on it. Enrichment. I need enrichment.
Yes. There we go.
I would love to lick something with peanut butter all over it and little nubbies. Doesn't that sound kind of fun?
Just get like an Uncrustable and like keep it frozen.
No. Oh, a frozen Uncrustable. I can gnaw on for a while.
Yeah, don't let it thaw. Just suck
that
on
might
it
really
for a
work
while.
for me. Thank you. Everyone's saying, well, Allison, People are saying enrichment in the chat. I need all the help I can get to remember the name of anything. So this is going to be great.
Wait,
for
but
me.
that's my job. The chat, this live chat we have going,
I don't need
can't
you
steal
anymore.
my job
Yeah.
of trying to
Commitment
piece
is just
together in a memento kind of way the three
Yeah.
clues you drop, and then figuring out who you mean.
Kermitment is now me and 12 people, and you're frozen out now.
Maybe it's like 1 versus 12. Who can get there first? Who can remember Jerry Nelson's name first?
Oh, that could be fun.
I mean, it's going to be the chat, honestly, because
Yeah.
we have some Muppet experts in the chat who
That
will
could
know
be
more
a
than
good
we
game
do.
show. One guy with a brain full of holes, one smart guy, and then 12 people. Who's going to come out on top?
I think we need to clean up the language a little bit as far as marketing this goes, because
That's too long a title. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, title-wise, it's more of like the
Guess
descriptive.
the thing. It's called Guess the Thing.
I mean, to be fair, that's pretty much what Rob Lowe's whole show is.
I haven't seen it.
It feels like a fake bad game show in a movie. I think it's just called The Hole, maybe. But like they'll put up pictures of things, and there's like name these things.
Floor. It's called The Floor. Yeah.
But they'll just like put up pictures of like Billie Eilish, a fork.
Oh, I have seen it.
It's like
I mean,
name
like a
these
screwdriver
things.
or something, and
Yeah.
people won't know what a screwdriver is.
And to be fair, like most of the time, like if you watch it, like 8 of them are screwdriver, hammer, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden they'll toss like a T-square or something in there, and people will be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So but it's just most of the time, if you watch those early rounds, you're like, how is this a television show?
It's kind of like a Mr. Beast thing, huh?
Yeah, I think
bit.
very much so. And the I think you can fall through things. There's another one with Jay Farrow recently that's just called like The Quiz with Balls, where like big balls just knock people off of platforms if they get things wrong. Yeah.
We're turning into RoboCop. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah. Ugh. But yeah, they.
Anyway, let's talk about your baby.
Okay. What do you want to know?
We already talked about it a little bit, but how's it going?
I think it's going as well as it can. Yeah, it's fun.
Is it fun? Is it hard? I can't even picture what it's like.
I've described it a few times as overwhelming in the best way. It's easier in some ways than you think, but it's easy in like the mental way. And this is obviously my experience of the way we've talked about it is, I don't know, you have those pre-parent fears sometimes where you're like, what if they're crying and I just get mad or annoyed that like, what's this thing being loud in my house? Stop it. You're a bad roommate. But at least for us, thankfully, she came along and we're like, oh, no. Whatever we need to do is all for you now. And so it was very quickly priority shift, and nothing else matters as much as her, which I think is the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah, probably genetically speaking, there's something going on there, huh?
Yeah, but I think there was some fear put into me, I think, because you see stories of people, especially on the dad side of things, who are like, yeah, I couldn't really bond with my kid until they were like a year old and actually starting to do stuff. And I don't know necessarily what that's like, because for me, it was like an instantaneous thing of just like, oh no, this is the thing I am protecting forever. So yeah, it was, thankfully, didn't have to go through that experience. But I know people who have, and it sounds very hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have heard that too. Like, it's probably pretty common for at some point in your kid's life for you not to like them that much.
Well, and at a certain point, she won't like me. She'll be a teenager and be like,
right.
ugh, I'm stealing the car keys, Dad.
Yeah, you're gonna be so annoying when you're a dad, teenager dad. Also,
oh man, the thing that I try to think about is I very often try to put myself back in the shoes of when I was an obnoxious teenager doing shitty things.
Yeah.
I was not that rebellious of a teen, so I don't have a ton of stories to pull from.
Yeah.
But what I want to try and be, he says this 13 years before it's relevant.
Yes, this is being recorded for posterity too. I'm going to replay it for you.
I mean, she can listen to it, which is more upsetting.
I would be so disappointed in her if she listens to this.
Yeah, I want the kind of kid who doesn't care.
This, go outside. If outside still exists, Go
Yeah,
there.
if the air is breathable without your super future space helmet,
Yeah.
please go out and touch grass and don't listen to your dad's Muppet podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe when I die, you can go back and listen to it as like, oh, I remember him.
Yeah, your funeral will just play every episode. It's like we'll play it
Welcome
all
to
in
this
like
600-hour long funeral.
Yeah. It'll always be coming out of your tombstone or something like that.
Ooh, that's some good
That's kind
marketing.
of cool. That's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Good marketing, yeah. I'm sure people will be coming from far and wide.
But yeah, what I want to try and do when she's a teenager, and again, who knows what the world looks like, what the internet is like, what kind of cars she'll be driving. But I want to try and remember to put myself in
The answer
shoes.
to all of those questions is Elon Musk.
No. But I want to be able to put myself in the shoes of a teenager and not forget what it was like, because I look back and I'm like, I thought I was the smartest in the world. I thought I knew everything. I thought, like, I know she'll feel that way, and I know that I don't want to forget that, because I feel like that's a problem that a lot of parents run into, is like dismissing their kids' feelings or thoughts when they become a teenager. Because they're like, you're just a dumb kid. What do you know?
I don't even know. Like, I'm sure my parents will listen to this. I'm not going to say anything too rude.
We'll get to. I finally met Sam's parents.
Matt finally met my parents, which to me is so shocking that you never have, because they probably talk about you more than anybody else that I know, including Rachel. They probably ask me more questions about you than anybody. So I just assumed you knew them.
My
but
number.
You met
we can
them
text.
everybody. But I don't feel like I was dismissed necessarily, but I do feel like I never got, like, they never said, like, when I was your age, I went through this, or like
in a positive way. I feel like you get sometimes like well, when I was your age, we didn't have this thing, so you should be lucky.
Yeah, they didn't do that. Like, as I think about it, I knew like shockingly little about them.
That's the other part that I want to try and be good about as a parent, is just like, there's a book that I bought that I haven't read yet, so I can't vouch for it, but it's called Talk with Her. And it's about like raising a teenage girl as a dad.
Oh, that's what that's about. I see that in the Target end caps.
Yeah.
Could be about anything, really.
It could be super shitty and not a good book. I'm not vouching for it. But that's like having conversations and just thinking about all the things I didn't know about my parents' lives. Not nefarious things, but just like, I don't know. For certain chunks, I'm like, where did my mom work? Or what, like, or like, oh, why did we move? Why did that happen? And just like, they didn't feel the need to tell me why decisions were being made, or why certain things were happening to the house or to me. And again, thankfully, nothing scary, nefarious, or traumatizing, but it just really felt like we didn't have conversations about things that stick with me in any way about why things were happening. And so it just felt sort of like things would happen to me as a kid. And I see friends with their kids who are, 8, 9 years old or whatever, having conversations where I'm like, oh, you're doing a good job. Because I can ask your kid what you guys did yesterday, and he can tell me, and he'll tell me the reasons you guys did that, and have thoughtful responses. And I'm like, these are good conversations you're having with your kid.
Yeah, I feel like my parents were better about that. I think they just like, I always felt like you guys were never teenagers, is kind of what it seemed like. Like, I don't know.
Well, because I think it's, for me, I was not entirely raised by just my mom, but for the most part raised by a single mother. And she is someone who was also, she had my oldest sister when she was 17. And so my mom has been a mom for the majority
so I guess it is easy,
of her life.
It's easy to forget what you were like as a kid when you weren't a kid that long.
Yeah. And so, this is the 70s. So she was a mom at 17 and has been a mom and a grandma and a great grandma ever since.
Wow.
And so, like, her life experience is very different from me, a 37-year-old who has a newborn. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an old dad. But I think the maybe the biggest negative personality trait I have gleaned since becoming a dad is that it's very hard for me to not just talk about my baby to anyone.
Yeah.
Because one, it is pretty much the only thing happening consistently in my life. So if people ask what's up, obviously it's that. But two, people want to know some things about my baby. They want to see cute pictures. They want to ask how she's doing. But then I assume later upon reflection that they wanted me to stop at some point, and I didn't.
Oh, I don't know. Babies are pretty interesting, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I think there's also the parent thing where the things you think are interesting are not always things that other people think are interesting.
That's true.
The fact that she lightly grasped a piece of paper yesterday
seems
like a big deal to me because she's not been grasping really. But to anyone else, they're like, I can pick up paper.
It's one of the easiest things to pick up.
Yeah. But she hasn't done it before, so wow.
Look at that.
Just rub it in her face, Sam.
Watch this.
You can use both your hands at the same time? Wow. 2 pieces of paper in one hand.
I can switch them.
Guys, I gotta say, Sam is more physically impressive than my baby.
I can grasp. I can't do much, but I can grasp.
I was
not very hard. I don't think I have a very good grip strength. So
you don't have one of those like little 90s springy things on your desk?
I need one of those. Yeah, I need one.
So you can arm wrestle somebody in the future?
Yeah.
I will say I was reflecting on a clip we put out a while back from one of our episodes where we were talking about preparing to be a dad. It's the one where you had said I could swaddle you but not change your diaper. And that was
I think I used up a little bit too. I think maybe I said you could.
I don't know if you ever said, yes, please change my diaper. But at the time, those were the two things that I was most nervous about. And I will say, I've come a long way. I can swaddle and change a diaper in like 5 seconds flat. I got those things.
Was it scary the first time you did both of those things though?
Yeah, it was scary. Partially because we were still in the hospital and there's like nurses watching you.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, go ahead, change your baby. And you're like, well, I haven't ever before. And they're like, you got this. And I'm like, but I literally don't know what I'm doing.
And you do. You changed my baby.
Yeah, it's like you've changed, or I watched you do it. That doesn't mean I know how to do it. So thankfully, it, like many things that I have realized in taking care of a baby, it's the more you do them, the more confident you feel. And at a certain point, it just becomes second nature. If it's like, oh, we got to swaddle the baby. All right, zip, 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 done.
You didn't need me after all.
Sadly, I did not need to pretend diaper you to be a decent dad.
Jason C in chat says the diaper changing moves to a new difficulty level once they can crawl, and then once they can walk too.
Well, at a certain point, they won't need them anymore.
Well, yeah.
But
that's like three and some change years away though, right?
But they also, I have seen that many times people are warning of like, yeah, you think they're squirmy and trying to get away from you now? Just wait until they can actually roll over or actually crawl. And they like actively choose to fight you. Like they're like, do you want to change my diaper? No, I'm not going to let you.
I like being in my poop.
Yeah. So while she is very wiggly right now and not very cooperative, she can't roll over. So she is, and
you're going to be bigger than them for a long time. So
she's so strong.
Oh no.
Babies are so strong, Sam. It's very weird because, I
didn't know that.
You pick them up sometimes and they're this floppy, sack of meat that just like seems like they got no bones in them. And you're supposed to hold their neck up and not poke their head and all these things that they feel so fragile. But then you have to like pick a booger out of their nose and you like suddenly their neck becomes the strongest it's ever been and will fight you and resist and turn away from you. And you're like, where is this strength at every other moment of the day?
Oh, wow. They're willfully not exerting it.
Or you want
to make your life harder.
Dress them up for bed and put them in pajamas, and she'll stiffen her legs out and not bend them at all to put them into the pajamas. And you're like, okay, but you need to. And how much can I bend your leg without worrying that I'm hurting you? Because your legs are so stiff right now. So yeah, babies, very weak, but also at sometimes will overpower you.
Babies, very weak.
But that's, again, pretty much all I've been up to is baby mode, dad mode.
That makes Yeah.
So it's
Which
a
as we'll
lot.
get into later, involves watching a lot of TV.
So much TV and movies. Yeah, we'll get into that. But Sam, I got to ask you first because I'm not the only one who's had a big life event in the last couple months. You, surprisingly to maybe some of our listeners, got married.
Yeah. I forgot to tease this earlier. I got a big reveal at the end of the episode too. Don't get your hopes up too much.
Was it that you got married? Because I just spoiled that.
No.
Okay.
Everybody stay tuned. Blow your socks off.
I want to believe that most people don't skip out halfway through an episode of a podcast. And I think specifically this episode is so weird that if people wanted to bail, they're gone already.
Skip to the end at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go listen to the last 10 minutes or so if you want to hear a big bombshell that I don't know if I know.
I've had 2 big life events happen to me. And don't get your hopes up. Nothing exciting.
Wait.
But stay tuned.
I think now you're underselling this thing you just told everyone to stick around for because it's a huge life-changing bombshell.
An air of mystery.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Marshall Grover, you guys can't skip to the end, but the people listening can.
Yeah, you're stuck here, live stream chat, who's currently listening to us. You have to wait.
But yeah, me and my wife got married as that's who you usually get married to.
Well, to be fair, you don't usually marry your wife. Usually, she'll become your wife after you've been married.
I had to stop calling her my wife so much in the months leading up to my wedding so that wouldn't be really confusing, because I did say a couple times to people at work, oh yeah, me and my wife are getting married, and they'd say, what? What are you talking about?
Seems like you've already done that part. Yeah, I think that's why I said it's surprising for some of our listeners, because through the years of this podcast, you have very often referred to Rachel as your wife.
I call her my wife on pod, definitely. I've been with Rachel for 15 and a half years or something by the point when we got married. But we got married in our backyard. Our goal with our wedding was always just to be able to have a fun party. Once it got past a certain point where I was like, we've been together 10 years. So it's kind of what started to bother me was when people would say, nothing's really going to change.
Right.
Because it does. It does. It felt nice to stand up there and give my vows, or to tell her my private vows, and to make that commitment in front of everybody, and to have people and look at your life and be like, this is what we've done. But in a kind of a way, it's kind of well, I've already called her my wife forever, so I can understand why people say that. I can't get too frustrated.
I will say, as an outside party to this, I don't know that I ever said it to you. Sorry if I did, but I think I was thinking a little bit oh, they've been together so long. I don't know much about the wedding. I don't know how big of a thing they're making of this. So I didn't know necessarily what energy was going into the wedding of is this
we
just
kind of wanted
a
to
cool party?
Keep that to ourselves to a certain degree.
But I think from very early on with the reception and the vows and different speeches and everything they gave, it very quickly became special, and very quickly was clear that oh, okay, this is not just another day for this couple who's been together forever. This is a big deal to them. This is a big deal to the family. And yeah, it was a very, very good day, and I was happy I got to be there for it.
Well, I think part of why Matt is saying that a little bit is because we had it in our yard, which is a kind of common Montana thing, and maybe a common world thing. I don't really know. But I think when you think a yard wedding, you think there'll be a couple dozen people in a little ceremony. But Rachel's always wanted to have a big blowout wedding, and we had it in our yard mostly because she likes her garden so much, and wanted people to see that, and wanted her family who's never been to Montana to see our house, and if they're only there for a day or two, be able to experience our lives. So that's why we did that. But then also we kind of went all out, and we got a toilet truck, and we got a bartender, and we got catering.
Yeah, there was never a moment where, as a guest at this wedding, that it felt I never felt the limitations of a backyard wedding, and it never felt cheap. It never felt oh, they had to sacrifice what they really wanted to do for this.
Hey, brother, I gotta tell you, it wasn't cheap. It was probably more expensive.
But I think like, yeah, sometimes like I think you said there's like maybe a stigma attached to the idea of a backyard wedding and what that might look like or feel like. But to me, this felt like you and Rachel got to do exactly what you wanted to do.
Yeah, totally.
And
that's very important to her to do exactly what she wants to do. Like, not in a negative way.
Yeah,
she just has a vision and likes to it's satisfying to her to execute.
Oh no, she is. I think you even said something about this in your vows, but she is just a very impressive person. And very like set on. I want this thing to go this way, or I want this to exist, and I will make it happen in 2 hours. And you're like, what? How did you just do that? And the fact that she built the bar that the bartender was using, but like she built it like 2 days before your wedding.
Just on because we couldn't find one to rent.
Yeah,
so
she's like, whatever, like, I'll just build a bar.
Yeah, it was so funny too. She's always like this. Like I was looking up bar like schematics, like how to build a bar,
right? And
so she was like, how tall do they usually, like, how tall are bars? And I looked up on the official website for bartenders, like the bartender organization, they are 40 something inches tall. And I said, Rachel, they're 40 something inches tall. And she said, that's too short. I was like, probably like a medieval man came up with that height. Like, what?
I also love that idea because Rachel's not 6 feet tall.
No, so she made it so tall.
If she was a taller person,
it's fun to it's fun to put your arms up on. She was right. It's like a very fun height for a bar to be.
I will say I did not have any thoughts, which I think is a compliment, about the height of the bar when I went for a drink. Bar.
It's too tall, but that's okay.
I didn't think it was too tall when I approached.
Okay, people are asking me questions. Marshall Grover asks, was Lilu the ring bearer? No. Our friend Val was the rope bearer because we tied a knot instead of wore rings because they're not really jewelry people. Wait until the end of the episode to learn more about that. Okay.
I can't wait because I don't know. There's something that Sam's revealing later in the episode that I do know. Whatever this other thing is happening is, I have no idea what this is.
But she wasn't, but we did have a special photography session with Lilu, who's our cat, by the way, our 15 or 16 or 17-year-old cat. There was talk of her being the ring bearer, but then we thought maybe a human being who will know what they're
where
doing.
To go, what direction to head in, not to wander off to the wrong yard.
Yeah, that was our friend was the rope bearer for us. And then the next question is, I want to know what was on Sam's wedding playlist.
Ooh,
I can publish our wedding. We have a Spotify.
Yeah, I was gonna say you had a good like ceremony music. Obviously there was some good DJing happening from a friend of ours as well. But yeah,
he did not really follow the playlist actually. But
that's
he kind of went. He played some goofy movie music. You remember that?
I do remember that. I didn't assume that was, off limits.
That was not on our playlist. He just, and then he played like a whole bunch of Jimmy Buffett. Rachel had specifically told me that I was not allowed to put Jimmy Buffett on the playlist. So,
but did you tell him that Rachel had said you weren't allowed to listen to Jimmy Buffett?
There's certain expectations when you have a DJ and give them a playlist that you don't have to necessarily.
But I think there's also certain expectations that go out the window when you hire your friend who's like, but they'll love this.
That was more fun. The but they'll love this was good.
Because I know specifically I made multiple requests. Of Who Let the Dogs Out was one I requested.
That one got played maybe 3 times during the wedding, I think.
I only requested it once, to be fair.
Okay.
And Hey Ya by Outkast was my other request.
Oh, that was definite. That was on the playlist for sure. Okay, Rachel loves that song.
My favorite little kid moment of your wedding was during the vows. Rachel was saying, very sweet things to you, as people say in their vows at weddings. But a friend of ours has a little boy named Sam. And in conversations, a lot of times, like, he'll be little Sam. The Sam you're listening to now in this podcast is Big Sam. And so during Rachel's vows, I heard him turn to his dad and say, "Is she talking to Big Sam?" Because for a moment he thought, are these promises to me? Is she swearing vows to me? Should I be paying more attention?
That's really cute. You accidentally got married to my wife.
But I just heard, is she talking to Big Sam?
the wedding, he decided he was Big Sam and that I'm Huge Sam now.
That's what happens when you get married.
Yep, that's
you become
right.
huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you want to share some of the songs that you had as part of your wedding?
I can post our wedding play. It was a Spotify playlist, so I'll just
okay.
put it. I'll put it in the comments.
Okay.
Well,
what about for those that aren't currently here? What did you walk down the aisle to?
I walked down the aisle to. I think I had just made fun of you for. Or no, you had.
This
just
is
made
why
fun
I
of
wanted
yourself,
to ask
maybe?
you.
Yeah. Because you walked down the. What did you walk down the aisle to?
I walked down the aisle at my wedding to the Vitamin String Quartet cover of Fall Out Boy's Grand Theft Autumn.
And I walked down the aisle to. So okay, so to set the scene, it was the time to pick what we walked down the aisle to, and Rachel was like, I think you should walk down the aisle to a Radiohead song because you like Radiohead. And I said, that's true, I do really like Radiohead. And then she said, great, because I picked this out for you. And then what she played me was Vitamin String Quartet version of Subterranean Homesick Alien from Radiohead. So that's what I walked down the aisle to. And I was like, oh no, Matt's gonna really have a field day with this.
The problem was I myself don't know Radiohead that well. So I didn't know it was a Radiohead song in the moment when you were walking down the aisle. I could tell it was a song that I had heard before, and that was sort of like where it ended. And so I couldn't necessarily in the moment go, what is this? And I did not have the right reaction because it was a very sweet moment. And I did cry a little bit at your wedding. So
oh yeah, that's great. I wanted people to cry.
Your vows made me tear up. That was what did it. Your vows were so sweet that I was like, can't hold it in. Well, and Greg, who performed the ceremony, also was tearing up, which made the rest of us tear up. But you mentioned a little earlier some lawn drama with your wedding that I'm curious about.
Oh yes. Well, it's not that interesting, but I have been
hold on, Sam. I'll be the judge of that. This is Yard Talk. It might be interesting to me and to 5 people who are listening.
Not really drama per se, but I just really went on a great watering regimen on my lawn because it's Montana and it gets so dry here.
Yeah.
And I felt guilty every time I do it, but I really pumped up how much I was watering the lawn. It got real nice and green, but it rained so much the day before my wedding.
It rained the morning of your wedding, which was terrifying. Yeah,
that was terrifying too. Rained so much that I couldn't mow my lawn the day before the wedding. So I was terrified. So then I had
the worst day in a man's life is when he can't mow his lawn.
That's right. So then I had to wake up at like 5:30 the day of the wedding, and I got a mowing. And Rachel was like, it's gonna be fine, but in my heart I knew it wouldn't be fine. People would see the lawn and be like, couldn't even be bothered to mow your lawn, could you?
I like the idea that you dressed up in your suit when you got up. You're like, it's wedding day, gotta wear my suit, put the suit on, and you're out mowing in your suit, and the neighbors are just like,
yeah, because the only thing you can wear when you mow the lawn the only thing you can wear on your wedding day is your suit. That's right. You wake up in it already somehow. But then we had a dance floor that was down, and it ended up being down for like a couple extra more days than it was supposed to be. And the lady who brought it was like, this is going to kill your lawn. Your lawn's going to be
Wait, so this is the woman whose job it is to rent out these dance floors.
Yeah.
And her number one point was, by the way, this will
she
fuck up your lawn.
She was scared for me. She was scared for me. She was telling me,
you know why?
Your lawn's going to be, why?
Because she walked in and said, this guy's got a great lawn. I should warn
Even
him.
Before that, I wish that was the case, but even before that, she was saying it's going to kill your lawn. We took it up. She came a day late to pick it up. So I was like, this is the worst day of my life. There's going to be this huge, she picked it up. The lawn underneath it was even better than the other lawn. It looked beautiful.
What? How does that work?
I don't know how it happened. I don't know. It was so green and lush. It must
it's like when you have a cast on your leg when you're a kid and it comes back hairy.
Yeah, exactly. It must have just been like a dark paradise under there. I don't know. But yeah, so that was it was so muddy the day before. I was so scared. It was pretty muddy the day of the wedding too. And then it all got stomped on and everything. So it was pretty messed up. And I haven't mowed since then. So I got to go. I'm going to mow after this. That's my big plan for today.
Day.
Yeah. Mickey Smith is asking me, okay, so now that you've done it, what's your number one wedding tip? the man who dropped off my toilet truck told me that.
So hold on, is this secondhand advice from Toilet Man?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The man who dropped off my toilet truck told me that you just shouldn't. You just gotta stay in the moment. You're only gonna have this, and this is pretty obvious advice, but it's like this is only gonna happen once. So there's no point in thinking about anything else but the moment that you're existing in while you're existing in it. So I tried to do what the toilet truck man told me to do, and it was great advice.
And then he turned around and Toilet Man vanished into dust.
He's gone. All that was left was the toilet flush, the water swirling in the toilet. Where did he
future
go?
Sam coming back to tell himself to enjoy this moment. That's good advice, though. I think that's, we did not have a traditional big normal wedding because it was during COVID. But I do think it would be very easy to get distracted by, if there are small problems or there are people not showing up or showing up that you didn't want there or did want there, whatever. And there's just a lot of things happening that feel like they need to go right that day. But ultimately, as long as you and Rachel say your vows at the end of an aisle, check, you did it. You got married.
Yeah. And I think a couple other things that saved our wedding were we had a lot. If you have a backyard wedding, first of all, probably don't. Just get a venue. It's not going to be, once the food and the toilet stuff is figured out, it's not going to be as expensive, probably. And you'll have people helping, like people will be doing the tear up and breakdown and setup of stuff, which we ended up needing way more help with than we thought we did. So
I tried to help Sam. I feel like I wasn't on an approved list. And so I tried to walk into the backyard to help and was like, get out of here. You're a front yard man.
Yeah, well,
which I totally respected. And I understood that there was a reason that guests were supposed to be kept in the front yard because you guys were still setting things up. But I was like, I could be helpful. And they're like, no, you're a front yard man.
We already got it all figured out. Yeah, we had a bunch of people who had worked VidCon a bunch of times who were at the wedding.
It was
so basically
amazing.
They just were like, you, do this.
A friend who was in town for your wedding got put in charge of like event planning / managing people who were working your wedding, essentially, purely because they are so good at this kind of thing.
Yeah. And it was fine. I felt a little guilty about it, but I think that it was just as fun as it would have been if that person was in the front.
A perfect experience. For them.
So there was that. And then also Rachel thought it was really important to have at least 2 activities that people could do. So she got a photo booth and she got this phone. And those were the 2 things. She did the photo booth, and then there was like a thing where you could put stickers and make a magnet out of your photo booth printout. So she was like, there's got to be like a little activity people can do. And that turned out to be great. And we have axe throwing, like a fake axe throwing yard toy. That all of the children, whenever we have people over at our house with kids, they are obsessed with it. And all they want to do is throw axes into this thing, and they can do it for 5 hours at a time. No problem.
Yeah, to be clear, some kind of not real axes. Toy. It's like a rubber thing with plastic things that grab the fake axe.
Yeah. So a yard toy out of the way that kids can super focus on will make everybody, including their parents' lives, much, much better.
My favorite axe adjacent moment of the wedding was, the geography is unimportant here, but I was talking to the parents of a little girl who was at your wedding in your garage, and we were talking about kids because obviously just had one, and talking about their kid, and they're like, where is she, by the way? And I was like, oh, I just saw her running around, she seemed fine. And I look back, and she is her head is right under the target of the axe throwing, as the little boys are throwing axes at the target, trying to like William Tell her. And I was like, oh, I think she is fine, but she is also underneath the axe target at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my wedding. Just like talking about your baby, nobody wants to hear about your wedding too much, so I'll stop. But it was fun. I'm really glad we did it. And I would be not glad that we did it if it didn't turn out perfectly, but maybe it always does, and you just take what you can get.
Yeah, I think that's part of that, staying in the moment kind of thing is, you can prepare, make sure you don't let anything go to shit necessarily. But there is a certain point where you just have to kind of like let go and let things happen.
Yeah.
And accept that, like, oh yeah, maybe that thing didn't end up happening at the exact time we wanted it to happen. But did it happen?
Yeah.
Did anyone else care that it didn't
The
happen at the
pizza
time?
was late.
Right.
Man, the pizza was late.
Well, I can tell you as someone who was there, no one at my table said, where's the pizza though?
That's all I could think about was where that damn pizza was. But that's good to know.
You know, mentioning Muppets here a little bit, I will say, there was a moment during the right before the ceremony, somebody I was sitting next to turned and they're like, you think he's going to have any Muppet stuff in the wedding? And I was like, no, I don't actually.
Yeah.
Like, I don't anticipate anything to do with Muppets at this wedding.
Walk down to the aisle to the Muppet Show theater.
But I think it is interesting that because we've been doing a podcast for 4.5 years or whatever about the Muppets, people assume that our lives are just Muppets sometimes. And obviously, you know, you've got Muppets behind you. I've got Muppets behind me. We do enjoy the Muppets. It has become more of our personality since we started doing the podcast. But it does not seep into our personalities as much as I think other people who don't talk to us weekly might assume. Like friends of friends or like acquaintances kind of things, like probably assume that our entire lives are dominated by Muppets, which is just not the case. Or people who listen to this podcast maybe are even like, those guys are probably just Muppet guys 24/7.
I do in my brain think about certain Muppets.
There's like a filter of
frequently.
Muppets that attaches to everything. Like if you're watching something and you're thinking about how Muppets could enhance this, your brain's obviously a little
definitely
broken.
do that. Yeah.
But also when Muppets things do happen, or even just puppet things in general, I think we obviously watch those or appreciate them in a different way than other people would be. Not a better way, but a different way.
A different way, yes.
So yeah, it was having somebody ask me that, I was like, one, I don't think that would be a thing Sam would naturally want to do, and two, I think Rachel would say, no thank you, no Muppets at my wedding.
Like that. If I really had wanted to have a token thing to the Muppets, she would have said, okay. But yeah, I
think like Menomina during the reception would have been fun.
Yeah,
that's as close to like as a good idea I can think of for incorporating the Muppets into your wedding. Is like if Menomina came on at 2 a.m., everyone's drunk and there's like,
that's a good point. That could have been fun. Yeah.
But yeah, no Muppets at your wedding. Aside from people did think that I wore a green shirt on purpose because it was Kermit colored, which was not the case, I promise. Well, since you didn't have any Muppets at your wedding, I am curious, over the last 2 months, what Muppet things have you enjoyed? What have you missed? Have you watched anything? Have you just talked to people on the street about Muppets because you don't know how to not talk to people about Muppets?
Not really that much that I can think of. I haven't purposefully watched any Muppet stuff. I feel like I watched a clip I thought was funny again recently, but I can't even think of what it was. But no, I haven't been. Actually, just occurred to me like a couple days ago how weird it is that I haven't seen a billion episodes of Muppet Babies lately.
It has been a while, and it will still be a while.
I think if we didn't take our break during Muppet Babies, maybe I would feel a little differently. But no, I haven't. I can't.
No, you just have not missed the Muppets at all.
I've missed. Did I miss them? I do. Yes, I would say yes. I do miss watching Muppet stuff and doing the show. Yes, but I haven't watched any Muppet stuff since we have. I think the most I've watched is maybe like clips of the Muppet live script reading stuff that they've been doing.
So they're doing another one of later this year in New York. With a lot of the same cast, but they're just going to be doing it in New York now.
About the Muppets Take Manhattan, right?
Yeah, the Muppet Script Manhattan they're doing, I think in October maybe. It's at the Bell House in New York. I think the tickets for in-person are already sold out. And I don't think they've done any live stream information yet, but I know they're trying to figure that out. And if that's the case, I've already talked to Matt Wilkie, and we will probably have him and maybe some other cast members on the podcast again to promote that live stream.
But yeah, how about you? Have you been watching any stuff?
I have watched a little bit of Muppets, mostly in the early days of having the baby home and not really knowing what to do with myself. In the times where either, feeding her, you're staring straight ahead, so you can't hold a book because both hands are holding her. And so it's like, okay, well, I guess I have to watch something while feeding her. And so I was trying to think of, in the beginning, it was very much of like, okay, something that we can both enjoy, even though I know she is 3 weeks old and has no brain thoughts. So we have watched, I say we, mostly just me, the Muppets 2011 movie and Muppets Most Wanted, which I don't know if I had ever watched since it came out in the theater. So I rewatched that for the first time since it came out. And the way I'm watching lots of things now is in like 20-minute increments while she drinks her bottle. And so I see 20 to 30 minutes of something and then have to like wait a few hours and then watch the next 20 to 30 minutes of it. So it's like a movie or a few episodes of something a day, but just scattered throughout the day. But yeah, so that's the most Muppets though I've watched. Maybe we did one episode of Sesame Street, but it was the new season and it made me a little sad.
I feel like I remember you mentioning that maybe.
Yeah. It was, I don't know, it's just so different in a way that I'm very curious, throughout the journey of this podcast to explore and see the gradual or sudden change that happens to that show over time. But just watching the Sesame Street from the 80s that we watch now on our podcast and jumping ahead to a 2025 episode, it barely feels like the same show at times.
Yes, I watched a new episode very recently too, and was like, there's not really like people in this show anymore. Very weird. It's just like Elmo talking to various other puppets.
And honestly, talking to me too much. I don't want him talking to me so
interesting.
much.
Okay.
I want him having his own things. I want him having storylines that don't involve me. He doesn't need to tell me everything that's going on with his life.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
But kids like that, I guess. It's the YouTube thing, right? Of like engaging with.
I've been having a lot of thoughts, trying not to think about work too much, but again, thinking of like how filters become a thing. Like I think about things from a YouTube company sort of way a lot of times because that's my job. But I've been thinking a lot about this idea of catering to your audience versus putting something out to create the audience you want. And I feel like the internet in general, YouTube, TikTok, etc., has become so algorithm based that most creators end up leaning into things that they don't truly want to do in their heart of hearts, just because it gets more views or more comments or engagement. And so they're making things not to be good, but to be clickable. And I hate that, especially when I can feel it. If I'm watching something that is super clickbaity or whatever, but the content itself, I'm like, oh, this person's having a good time. Yes, they had to package it in a way to get YouTube to pay attention, but I feel like they're at least making content they want to make. Versus I'll see a topic or a thumbnail or something that catches my eye that I'm like, that sounds like shit I would like to watch. And then I click on it and I'm like, oh, this person hates their creative life. They don't want to be doing this, but they got trapped 6 years ago in making this kind of content, or they're chasing the algorithm, or they're trying to copy Mr. Beast. And I see that happening, I feel like, with Doctor Who is a show that I will accuse of this, mostly because I've seen behind the scenes interviews with Russell T Davies where he'll literally say that like they didn't have a story plan for a moment in an episode. They just did it because they knew people would talk about it on the internet. And I'm like,
that's dark.
Hate you. Like
that's grim to hear.
Yeah, but they're like, people will ask him like, well, what did you have in mind when you created this plot point? And he's like, nothing really. I just knew it would get people talking.
Oh my gosh.
Fuck you, sir.
I don't want to hear that.
Yeah. So as much as I was already not loving the recent Doctor Who seasons, that made me even more mad knowing that the creator didn't care where it went.
Yeah.
Because he was just trying to make people talk about it, which
that sucks. It's like wasting all the people in it and working on its time too.
I just want to, I want to watch things from people who want to make good stuff, which feels like it shouldn't be hard or like shouldn't be that, novel at this point. But
that's something I was thinking of when I was thinking of the TV shows I watched. I was kind of like, I don't think even TV shows people like, I'm sometimes just like, I don't think this is very good. Like, I remember what TV shows used to be like, and I don't think they're like that anymore.
I think a big thing, so one of the things we've been watching, or we just finished recently, was How I Met Your Mother, which was one of those shows. I don't know if you have this happen with your wife, or if anybody else who's listening in the chat has had this happen, but you'll start a show that your wife is not interested in, because you're like, well, I need a background show when I'm doing something, or when I'm feeding the baby and wife is not around. And so I'll start a rewatch of this show, and then she's hanging out and she starts watching an episode. And
this
then,
exact thing happens the opposite way around, where Rachel does that.
Yeah.
I'll be like, and then it'll be like 20 episodes in, and it'll be like, oh wait, who's that? And she'll be like, that was in like the fourth episode. You didn't watch that one. Like,
but then does this happen to you, where suddenly that show becomes we both watch this show, and now you can't watch it without each other?
Yeah, totally. That's every show she starts to watch.
Yeah, which honestly, to be fair, that's my ideal way of watching shows. I love watching TV with my wife. There are plenty of shows that I know she does not give a shit about, and she would never rewatch with me. Mad Men's probably one of those. I don't think she's ever going to watch Mad Men, but maybe I just have to trick her, like I did with How I Met Your Mother, or Frasier, or these other shows that I put on, and suddenly she's like, oh, actually, that was funny. What's happening? Okay. And then suddenly we're watching every single episode of How I Met Your Mother. But in watching that, I think TV shows, one, they don't get enough episodes a lot anymore. Like, they don't get 22 episodes.
Yeah.
But they also just don't have that same like momentum going the way that like a weekly show coming out, writing it, producing it has. So they don't, like, even when they make a bad episode, you're like, all right, well, we've got another one next week. It's fine.
Right.
Versus like it takes 10 years to make 5 seasons of Stranger Things, and they're like 8-episode seasons or whatever. And it's like, okay, this has to be the best episode of television I've ever seen every time. Otherwise, I'm going to be gravely disappointed. And
and then you can't. Then it's hard to even determine if it actually was any good or not, because you're just like, I've been waiting so long for this.
I think there are many problems, but this is one of the biggest problems I have with Rise of Skywalker. Is that the push around it was the end to the saga, the final conclusion,
return to form as well.
And like, I was like, you don't have to do this. Like, you can just say the next Star Wars movie, and people will go see it. But all that,
you don't even have to make Star Wars movies in groups of 3. That is not. There's no particular reason to do that.
No, and you can just make an Andor and make good Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that's all you have to do.
Yeah. I looked at my history of YouTube. The last Muppet thing I watched, not for the show, was the pre-show for the World of Color that came out in like May that you sent to me. So that was even,
like a week after I think we probably recorded last. So that's a good way to look. I think I have been watching a lot of YouTube with, my downtime. That's not really downtime. So I would have to probably scroll back a long ways. But I definitely have watched some Muppet stuff, I have to imagine, in my downtime. But the other Muppet thing I recently watched was some clips of Ozzy Osbourne interacting with Fozzie Bear on the Jimmy Kimmel Show, because Ozzy Osbourne just passed away.
Right. He interacted with Fozzie Bear?
They were both guests on the Jimmy Kimmel Show on the same night.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's an interesting combo.
Yeah, it's not the best, unfortunately. Like, I wanted to share it a little bit on socials, but rewatching it, Fozzie's not in top form. Yeah. And there's like weird miscommunication moments where Fozzie says something and then it's like, wait, so that? And it's like, oh, actually, no, sorry, that wasn't true.
Oh, that's so frustrating when that happens. Yeah.
So, but it's just weird to think that, he seemed happy to be near a Muppet and like he didn't hate them. And obviously, the bigger one is that he is on the Kermit Unpigged album with Miss Piggy performing Born to be Wild.
Oh, brother. Okay. Yeah. How is it?
I think it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
But also mostly just weird. I wanted to bring up something Muppet adjacent that you and I were texting about
Mm-hmm.
recently, is that Jim Henson's puppets keep popping up in places.
Yeah, what's going on here? Why is this happening?
Well, first of all, there's the cereal monsters. We have the Boo Berry, Frankenberry, and Count Chocula puppets popping up.
Why, though? Is there any explanation? Has there been like a press release about why they did that?
I don't know that there has been. I think they're like not officially rolled out yet. I think they've been showing up in stores, so some people have been getting their hands on them.
Right.
But I don't know that I've seen anything like from Jim Henson Company or Cereal Company saying why this is happening.
It's so set. Like the history of those cereal brands is there is no point in which they come anywhere close to Jim Henson. So it's just like, it's cool, and I think they look neat. It just is, to me, like, what is the connection here?
Well, and if we don't get some fun commercials,
a commercial with these guys,
puppets, then you've wasted an opportunity, because you can
if they just made photo puppets with them, that would be so weird.
Like, I want some Wilkins Wonkins style commercials with these puppets.
Yeah.
I know on the back of the box it says, to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the Jim Henson Company, our beloved crew of merry monsters are joining the family thanks to the talented artists at Jim Henson's Creature Shop. So there's no real, like, they're not even trying to tie it together, other than this is to celebrate the 70th anniversary, not of the Muppets, but of the Jim Henson Company.
Yes, so we have to be very clear about that.
Yeah, these ain't Muppets.
I mean, if they're fun commercials, that would be like, okay, I guess I can understand why they did this. If they're not, it's really confusing. Honestly, if in the future they're always Muppets now, I'm kind of okay with that too. They look pretty good.
Yeah, like, why not just have, these guys be your mascots?
Get a Fruit Brute, get a Yummy Mummy.
Man, I would love to see these guys interact with like other like mascots as well. Like,
oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, Muppetize all cereal mascots. I think that could be a good thing to do. We CGI'd them in the 2000s, and now we're Muppeting them.
Yeah, we got to scale back. We made him too sexy for a while. We made him CGI. We gave him muscles and fingers.
We did make him.
And we're like,
Tony Tiger got pretty sexy.
And to be fair, he can stay sexy. It's fine. We can keep Tony sexy. But
Tony deserves it.
Jim Henson
he works
Company,
out a lot.
Jim Henson Company has also built a Tony the Tiger suit that, like, when you see him on red carpets and stuff, that's a Jim Henson Company creation. So Jim Henson Company and cereals have this connection. But yeah, I don't know that they will stay puppets forever, but I kind of wish they would.
The Tony's kind of disappointingly unsexy in suit form.
I think one of the fun things about these boxes is the backs of them line up and they have like a gallery wall of photos of puppets. And because this is not Muppet affiliated, they have obviously some very specific puppets they can use. And so I would go out on a limb and say the majority of these are not characters you could name, even the most loyal Muppet fans. But there is a lot of Smurfs.
Yes, I was going to say.
Scred.
Wait, where's Scred?
Scred is on the back of at least two of them. He's on the back of all three of them.
I see him
in different ways.
Whoa, what the heck?
But we've got a Junior Gorg. We've got a Scred. We've got some Smurfs.
Oh, yeah, they got Junior on there.
We've got Fizzgig.
Wow.
So it's
Scred.
I guess they were just going for monster-y characters that they legally could use.
Right. You can't get Uncle Deadly on there.
Well, just even like Muppet monsters, like Timmy Monster or like those kinds of guys. You can't throw them on here. So apparently Smurfs are okay. Scred's okay. Dark Crystal and Labyrinth characters are good.
I'm surprised Junior Gorg made the cut. That seems like a big get.
Oh, no. Jim Henson Company is the only one who got Fraggle Rock.
They don't have some agreement with Apple or something of what they can do with them.
I mean,
suppose.
Maybe they had to give a heads up to Apple, but
right.
I think they're in the clear.
Wow, Scred. This is the biggest moment for Scred since when?
70? Got to sit on Lily Tomlin's lap or whatever?
Well, that would be a big moment for any of us, really.
Yeah, this is his second biggest moment in his life.
Yeah.
But I think it's an interesting insight into what puppets Jim Henson Company is allowed to use.
Yeah.
Which this got me thinking about how Jim Henson Company could capitalize on this, because they are also showing up on an episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Right.
Apparently
where everybody gets turned into a Muppet or something.
Apparently.
Yeah.
There's going to be a whole puppet episode of that show, it seems like. Well, I was thinking, I was like, and I'm sure they've had many conversations about doing this. I'm sure it's not a new idea for anyone at the Jim Henson Company. But like, what if the Jim Henson Company made a new TV show like a Muppets show would be, with new original characters, and introduced us to nameable new Jim Henson puppets?
Huh. That sounds hard.
It does sound hard, but I think part of my issue with when the Jim Henson Company does things is that the novelty is that it's a puppet, not that it's Kermit or it's Piggy or Fozzie, because they don't have them. But if they could get a character that I know their name, I think there's something powerful there for them to have their own original characters to use in things and to show up on things, whether it be commercials. And I'm not saying they're going to outdo or out earn the Disney Muppets, but I think for the Jim Henson Company, I could see that being valuable to be able to put on recognizable puppets while also still leaning on the nostalgia of, hey, you like the Muppets, right? So yeah, I don't know that they're going to make a whole TV show, but I think what happens, like right now, it feels like they're only relying on, we'll build you something. We'll build you a puppet. Yeah, we can make you a Muppet-like thing for that. And I'm sure Happy Time Murders did not send them in the direction of wanting to do more original content based on the public's reaction to it. But I think there's a lot of pressure on a new Muppets show, whatever that is. If it's the Muppet Show rebooted, whatever it ends up being, even YouTube videos, there's a lot of pressure.
Even if the pressure is just like, that voice doesn't sound right.
Yep. But a new puppet-based show from the Jim Henson Company that's for, the whole family, leans towards adults or whatever, but not that much. Jim Henson Company, pull it back. Not Happy Time Murders. I feel like there's something there that could work for me as a viewer of puppet media, but also like to establish them as like, hey, we don't just build things for other people, and we're also not the Muppets.
It's just hard to have any show these days, it's hard to have a sitcom. Like, there are sitcoms, but it's like the ones that take off are so few and far between, and like there's not really regular TV anymore. I feel like there's still, like, done correctly, a late show hosted by a puppet, which I know they've tried before.
Yeah, Earth to Ned was kind of that.
That feels like something that's like space. It's like Space Ghost Coast to Coast, where it's like people like that. Like, that's the thing where it's like a coin flip every time of like, are people going to respond to this? Like, we're gonna try, and maybe somehow a clip will go viral or something, and then all of a sudden people will love our puppet hosted
what they
late
should
night
do,
show,
which doesn't necessarily help in the ways I was trying to help them. What if Randy Feltface had a late night TV show?
Now, who's that?
Ooh, this is a good moment for me where Sam does not know who Randy Feltface is.
Okay, I've seen this before.
Yeah. Randy Feltface, for those that don't know, is a stand-up comedian who's also a puppet.
Yes, okay.
He is Australian, and if you go watch...
Australian comedy's hot right now, so this is a good opportunity for him.
If you go watch Randy Feltface clips on Instagram or something like that, he is, one, he's very funny, but two, very impressive puppeteering that just disappears in a way that I don't know how he's doing it for an extended period of time during a stand-up special, because his arm must be exhausted. But it's the kind of puppeteering where you very quickly forget that, like, this is a puppet, while at the same time he is calling attention to the fact that he is a puppet very often. So like, he'll ask the crowd a question and he's like, tell me you're not nodding at me right now. Like, I can sense that you're nodding at me, but you have to understand, I cannot see you nod.
Oh, wow. Okay, I want to check this out.
So I feel like the guy behind Randy Feltface must be an appreciator of the Muppets, because he seems like he has learned all the best lessons from Muppets to make Randy Feltface a thing. But that's the kind of thing where I'm like, he did it. He made Randy Feltface a name that people know. And I think that can be done by the Jim Henson Company. And I think a late night show is a great way to do it. And I think Earth to Ned is a good way to do it. And to be fair, I haven't watched all that show, but what I've seen, I've liked. But maybe for the common man, it's a bit too much of a hat on a hat of like, not only is it a puppet hosted late night show, but he's also an alien.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. It is too much it's like being embarrassed of your concept almost to a certain degree. It's like, it's enough, like you're saying, enough.
I was gonna say, people... or maybe not being embarrassed enough. Not that they should be, but like,
well,
is like when you stick to your guns so much that like this must be the format. I feel like sometimes it's too many layers for people to get through to get to the good.
Right, because people really just need, and I feel like this will segue into something that I watched, a movie that I watched. Like, people really just need to see a puppet. They don't need to hear why they're seeing a puppet.
Right.
It's like, and the being embarrassed of your concept part is like, this guy's an alien. He's not a puppet. You're not watching a puppet show. Like, but really people don't mind because, you know, like Kermit or Randy Feltface, people don't care if you say you're a puppet. They're still not going to believe you.
They could even keep them all aliens, but put them in like a very traditional Conan O'Brien, Jimmy Fallon looking set. So like you start to question, like, did they kill the people who made this show? Did they like replicate this in a way where they're trying to, you know, do a Kramer and like make their own show that like they stole a set? But just like, yeah, they're aliens. Of course, you're on a spaceship. Like, again, have not watched all of it, but I think there's just a little bit of a disconnect there that keeps it from connecting in a certain way. That I think the novelty of Randy Feltface is that he's a normal stand-up comedian, but he's a puppet. He
is also a puppet, which is basically what Kermit is too. Kermit is a regular 70s panel show guest, but he's also a puppet. He used to be. Kermit at his best used to be.
I feel like he's just treated now to come out and be like, hey, it's not so easy being green. Welcome to Earth Month.
Yeah.
Let me play my banjo.
Rolf was just another guy on Jimmy Dean. Yeah. Like there's a whole musical number about how he's just one of the gang now.
I even went back a little while ago because I've been finding some more Jimmy Dean clips and episodes recently. Okay. I went back because the first episode got released of Jimmy Dean. I found on YouTube, the one that Rolf is not in.
Okay.
And so I went back to watch that and then also watch the second episode again to be like, how did they introduce Ralph? And literally Jimmy Dean's just like, our old pal Ralph is here.
Ralph,
and I'm like, this was the first time you introduced Ralph to the world and then kept him around for every episode afterwards. And all you said was, our old buddy Ralph.
That's awesome. I can't think of any examples, but I do love that kind of thing where you watch something like a rerun or something and it seems like something's been around forever. And then you read about it on Wikipedia. It's like, that was just invented. That immediately lived in feeling.
Well, I was just looking, like I got an Instagram video the other day that was like, did you know these things aren't actually that old? And like, who knows, the truth about them. But one thing was that high fives like didn't become popular until the 80s.
What? Really?
Yeah. Like high fives were essentially created by baseball players in the late 70s.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I would feel like that would be the opposite, where you get an email that was like, we found a hieroglyphic of people high-fiving.
There's just two pharaohs being like, hey, good job pharaohing today, sir. But yeah, apparently Magic Johnson claims he invented the high five, which is just an amazing thing to believe of yourself. Oh, wow. But yeah, it seems like, the high five originated from the low five.
The low five came before the high five. Wow.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Magic Johnson.
Well, and also it took, 50 years, apparently. The low five is in the 20s. And then 50 years later, like, but what if up?
Oh, others have suggested it originated in the women's volleyball circuit of the 1960s. High-fiving and volleyball to me do go very hand in hand.
Your hands are already up. You bump, set,
that
high five.
Totally makes sense to be like, yes, we're high-fiving the ball. What if I high-five
This is the default position for my hands.
What if it was an accident the first time? They're just like,
it was over the net. They both went for the ball and they missed, and just a shot rang out.
And the whole crowd goes,
that was awesome. We should all do that all the time.
Wow. That's amazing.
Well, Sam, this is kind of, normally the time where I would ask you what non-Muppet thing you watched this week, but we've also been kind of doing that the whole time. So how's it going? What are you watching?
It's good. I feel like I can't talk about movies that much because I know that you can't see movies right now.
Yeah, I'm catching up on old things, but I'm definitely not going to the theater to see any new things right now.
So I'm sure you haven't seen Superman.
I have not seen Superman.
But I would love to know what you thought about Superman. I really wish I could talk to you about Superman and Fantastic Four, which I haven't seen yet. But these are movies I've been very excited about. And Superman, I was very trepidatious. Is that a word that means anything that I think it means?
Yeah,
what's it mean?
It means exactly the way you're using it.
Great.
Hesitant, essentially.
But man, it blew my socks off. I loved it so much. I saw it twice. And I think what I was saying about Randy Feltface is like it when you watch Superman, you're like, oh, the Marvel movies, and I do know this, they are embarrassed to be superhero movies sometimes. Like they're trying to do everything they can to ground things in a way that like Crypto's in this movie, Crypto the super dog. That should be that's stupid on the face of it.
Right.
But everybody laughed like that. He got the biggest reaction of anything in the whole movie because everybody loves dogs, right, and everybody loves a dog that's flying around. And like, it's easy to be cynical.
Everybody loves a dog flying around.
Cynical and be like, we can't put Crypto the super dog. Are you kidding me? But then when you put him in the movie, immediately you're like, oh yeah, everybody fucking loves dogs. I totally forgot about that. But yeah, it's so stupid and like heartfelt and good. And Rachel Brosnahan and David Cornsweet, is that his name? That's a great name for somebody who plays Superman.
Yeah, I can never remember that man's name. Every time I go to think of it, I'm like, Cornsweet? That can't be right.
I think it is though. And Cornsweet's like a real thing, right?
That's happening right now.
Yeah. Anyway, Cornsweet, whatever. And the other thing is like, they're so like electric and they're making out and stuff like that. And you're just like, oh yeah, Marvel characters are all virgins. These guys are definitely having sex with each other.
Everything I've heard about it sounds like it's extremely my shit and that I will really, really enjoy it because what I've been watching part of is Marvel, just all of it. I'm just going back and watching Marvel and
the TV shows, everything.
But it is those moments where it does feel like they're embarrassed to be a superhero movie or TV show are rough when they're just like, well, this silly outfit, I'm not going to wear that spandex.
Yeah.
Or
even like MODOK in the new Ant-Man movie. Yeah. It's just like, you can make a big evil head. People like a big evil head. You don't have to make fun of the fact that he's a big evil head.
When the name is a joke, when they're just like, we should call this guy this thing. And it's like, okay, but that's like his real superhero name. So now it's weird. Like,
now what are you going to call him, Jeff?
Is that bullying him now to call him his superhero name? And so, yeah, when they're like, even the moment I haven't seen in the movie yet, but in the trailer for Fantastic Four, where they're like, what time is it? Huh? Say it. It's clobbering time.
I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
But you love saying it.
I'm also just
I've read a million comic books.
Why won't you just say it? Like, the majority of people seeing this movie don't know why this is funny. Don't know what this is based on. Like, who is that for?
That's a good point, too. Yeah, that's a good point, too.
And I feel like James Gunn is usually good about not being embarrassed by making silly movies, and that's a compliment to his Guardians movies, is that he is willing to like throw the silly stuff out there. But I do think I also saw him say something recently about like, I never need to see an origin story ever again. And I'm like, yes, but that's you, head of DCEU or whatever. It's like there are many people who won't know about Batman's parents or whatever. Like, you know, when I was a kid and watched 89 Batman, that was my introduction to Batman. And there's always new kids to watch your superhero movies.
I think he probably could also be saying like, you don't need to see a whole movie that's an origin story.
No, but I wonder about that. Your audience is not just always going to age with you. You're not just making movies for 50-year-old dudes forever.
That's true. I think probably what I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. What I think he's probably talking about is when you watch a superhero movie and at the end of the movie, they get their costume and their name.
That is my other least favorite thing that happens.
That's
is when
so annoying.
Especially now going back and watching some of these where I'm just like, just do it. Just do the guy. Just be the man. Just go do it.
You're not going to get to make another one of these because this one sucked, and you spent your whole time not being that guy.
That's so the Marvel rewatch I'm doing is because we had talked a while back on this podcast about how I had fallen off the Marvel train a while ago around Thor: Love and Thunder. I just kind of stopped watching everything, and I was like, you know what? I want to go back and appreciate it. And so I was like, I have a lot of free time with a baby late at night. I'm just going to put on Marvel stuff. And I've decided to watch all of Marvel, basically starting with Iron Man, everything since then. The way I've described it is it's MCU or things that were made in the shadow of the MCU.
Right.
So I'm watching The Amazing Spider-Man. I'm watching X-Men Days of Future Past. I'm watching Venom.
Well, you got to watch them now because they're going to get tied into...
Right. And so there's part of it is like, I didn't want to go all the way back and watch like the 2000 Spider-Man and X-Men. One, because I've seen them all before. But also I wanted to like sort of start from when the beginning of the MCU started and sort of go from there. But it's also all my own rules. There's no timetable. This is literally just on the background while I'm feeding my daughter. But some of the things I've found is that, yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is so much better than Amazing Spider-Man 1 in a lot of ways. But the fact that they didn't get to make a third one makes the second one worse. Because I'm like, this was really kind of going somewhere. And then they just cut its legs out from underneath it. Right. But right now I'm watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I am liking way more than I ever expected to.
That's interesting.
I feel like I never heard anything about it when it was on, but now I'm watching it and I'm like, this is essential to the MCU of this era. Like, this fills in so many gaps of what was going on in this world, especially
I didn't really watch it.
Especially right around the time of Captain America: Winter Soldier, which is like my favorite MCU movie. Those same events with S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra are happening on the show, which obviously is a big deal for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
So, yeah, I know I've heard some warnings that it doesn't always stick to being as good or as tied to the MCU as it is at the moment. So I'm prepared for that. But so far, I've really been liking that. And just revisiting Marvel in a low pressure way where I'm like, even the worst movies, I'm like, that was fine, though. Yeah. You're okay, Edward Norton.
Is that all you've been watching, or have you watched other kind of movies too?
That's kind of been the go-to, honestly. Once I settled into that plan of just watching Marvel, it's just nice to not have to make a decision. Like,
those are good, not have to pay super close attention to movies too.
Well, and just knowing what's next. Like, as soon as I finish one, I'm like, okay, I know the next thing you put on is this. Like, not having to think about what should I watch. Yeah. Other than that, though, it's been like some documentaries. Like, there's the Trainwreck Balloon Boy documentary on Netflix.
Oh yeah, is that any good?
It's okay. It's mostly like, you get to hear a lot from the family, which is interesting because I never looked into them. But it's not really saying anything, which is my least favorite kind of documentary, where they're just like, and now you decide how you felt about that.
Oh yeah, okay.
But yeah, been watching, we watched How I Met Your Mother. That was our go-to TV show. Been watching a lot of Bob's Burgers. We've been trying to get through The Last of Us, but that's a weird show to watch when you're a dad. Some weird emotional levels to it that didn't exist before. But also just finding 45 minutes of uninterrupted time to watch something, and also sometimes feeling guilty if your daughter's in the room during this extremely violent show.
Yes,
is weird.
I was about to say you might like 28 years later, but then also all about new baby parenthood, kind of like it might mess you up. But it does feel like a Matt movie to me for some reason.
I started to watch, which sounds like I gave it an earnest attempt. I watched the first 3 minutes of Happy Gilmore 2 last night, and they immediately, I don't care if this is a spoiler, they immediately kill off Julie Bowen in that movie.
Is that the girl that he
falls in love with in the first movie, the mom from Modern Family. But yes, they immediately kill her off.
I cannot stand when they, like at the beginning of Zoolander 2, when they kill his family. It's just like, just say they're not there that day. Yeah. Why can't you just do that?
Yeah. Well, and it's the whole motivation because he kills her with he hits a golf ball too hard and hits her in the face and kills her.
He kills her?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a real Simon Birch scenario, I think, is a movie I'm referencing from 1998 that people haven't seen. But a mom dies from a baseball in that movie. So, relevant.
I've heard it's extremely sad.
Simon Birch is not a happy movie, but...
Oh no, Happy Gilmore 2.
Oh. I mean, the 3 minutes I watched and a clip of Eminem getting beat up did not seem emotionally resonant, but it does seem to be about a father not being able to like give his daughter the life she wants, which I imagine would be sad.
I've never seen Happy Gilmore 1, so I won't be watching Happy Gilmore 2.
I'd be interested to see, like, did you watch like Billy Madison and stuff like that when you were young?
I just totally missed the Adam
Sandler of it all.
Sandler thing. Yeah.
Huh. Wild. That feels like such a big part of my childhood of watching Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore and Waterboy and all those things, that like the idea that someone of the same age has not seen them.
Yeah, I don't know. I was an Austin Powers kid. What can I say?
The last thing I was curious about before we start to wrap up was video games you've been playing, because I have had a little bit of time for video games. Obviously not while feeding my daughter, but while she's sleeping. Sometimes, she'll give me a nice 4-hour chunk of sleep at night, and I'm like, ooh, baby, let's dive into some video games. And I've been really getting into Star Wars Outlaws, which...
I'm glad you gave it another chance.
Me too. I think the last time we talked about it, I was like, that's not for me. And then I gave it like just a half hour more, and I was like, actually, I love this game, and I'm going to keep playing it forever.
I have fallen off of it a little bit just because my computer got weird and I had to like put a new memory or a new video card in it. And then after I did that, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a break from thinking about my computer for a little while. But I also played a lot of that game. I really love, there's a part where you eat food with your little axolotl.
Yep.
And that part's so good.
Oh, Sam.
You hate that part?
That's my least favorite part of the game by far.
I think it's so cute.
It's the only quick time event like in the entire game,
but it's
and
still
it's
low stakes.
To eat food.
I think it's so cute. I just like the little moments.
So long is my problem.
It is very. I did was like
it just keeps going, and it makes it feel important, and it's just not.
All the parts where you are doing something like where he's got an interest and you're like following him and like helping him do something. For some reason, I love that stuff, but I need to get farther into it because I know there's a lot of like plot twists and stuff that I haven't.
Well, and the thing I like about it is that you have a lot of control over how the different syndicates react to you, and so there's like the 4 different syndicates, and you can like curry favor with some of them. And so if the Hutts like you can just walk into Hutt territory, and everyone's like, "Hey, what's up? How's it going?"
Right,
and go complete a mission. But if you've been doing that and pissing off the Pikes while you've been making the Hutts happy, but your mission makes you have to go to the Pike territory, then you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I've been pissing those guys off for 3 hours, and now I have to go into a store. They're going to shoot me immediately.
It is really satisfying. The one thing I wish you could do better was non-lethally take people down. Because even when you like bop them in the back of the head, they still are dead. You know?
Yeah, it is one of those games where you are the bad guy, but you're also not like Darth Vader bad guy. You're just like an average person who's like, hey, yeah, I'll steal that. I'll rob them. I don't quite believe that
this character would just kill people like that. I guess,
like she's too much of like, I think what they want you to think Han Solo is when you first meet him, of like, ugh, such a bad guy. Like I can't believe he cares about people now. Like they kind of make her like him in a way that is a little bit too much at times. Where you're like, maybe I don't want to actually make that decision.
Yeah. Right. There's like a mission early on where you have to like steal something back from some bad guys, from some like raiders.
Yeah.
But the guy who gives you the mission says, don't kill them. So I did like stealth attacks. And then I went back and he was like, you killed all of them. What are you doing?
Oh.
But I want to be like Solid Snake, where you can kind of like make people pass out, but you can't do that. You have to be totally unseen or kill them.
Nearly impossible.
Yeah.
I do. Obviously, I don't give a shit. But there is something about this game that I feel like I'm sure critics are saying this game is too woke, because the game goes out of its way. Almost every person you meet will like stress that they have to get back home to their spouse, and that spouse is the same gender as they are.
Oh, I maybe not noticed that.
It's like, and it's again, I'm just like, it's only notable because it feels like you'll go to a random town and like help a lady out with her speeder, and she's like, thanks, me and my wife really appreciate it. And you're like, cool, whatever. And then you go to the next town and the guy's like, oh, thanks for helping me. My husband can't wait to get these gardens planted. Thanks for the help finding the seeds. And you're like, cool. And it's just like every single person mentions their spouse, and almost all of them are like same-sex marriages. And I'm like, that's kind of like, I don't.
Odds.
It's like, yeah, it feels like you're like going too far to like say, we're cool with it, guys. Look.
Matt hates wokeness here.
That's the thing. Is like, again, it only tripped me up because I was like, noticed it after like the 8th time. I was like, huh, you're really like mentioning this unseen wife character who does not matter to the plot at all, but
Yeah.
characters just keep going like, yeah, my lady wife, I'm gonna go back to her now.
Maybe they all think that your character's hitting on them, so they have to bring it up, you know?
And yeah, somebody in our live chat right now mentioned the new Indiana Jones game, which thankfully did come to PS5 recently. So I am excited to check that one out.
Yeah, I would like to play that too. It looks fun. And I got a Switch too. I found one.
You found one finally? Online?
They were selling them on
person?
GameStop one day, and a bundle. When Donkey Kong Bonanza came out, they had bundles. So I got a Donkey Kong Bonanza bundle. It's fun. I really want to get Mario Kart, but it's $80, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
So
for a Mario Kart game that feels like people like it,
yeah,
but don't love it as much as Donkey Kong.
but I like that. But you just copy over the entirety of your Switch to your Switch 2, so you just have all the games on it already. So that's fun, and it makes. I've been playing Splatoon 3 a lot, and it makes that look really good. But Donkey Kong Bonanza, I am not super far in it, but it is incredibly fun.
It got like 10 out of 10 reviews from multiple places, and I'm like, I did not have a huge interest in getting a Switch 2 right now, but that did pique my curiosity.
Sometimes the punching through rock thing doesn't entirely work for me, just because it makes you not stop and appreciate everything that you're seeing, because you can shortcut to everything basically.
Right.
But it is super crazy fun, and it doesn't even feel, I don't know how to describe why it's fun, because it's not hard or anything like that, but you just kind of feel like you're in a world that's alive in a way that Mario games don't usually, and that you're just kind of like on this fun tour of a crazy new world. So yeah, that's good. But I do want to play Mario Kart really bad. I mostly just always love the music in Mario Kart, and I've listened to some of it in the new one and been like, whoa, that song's from Super Mario Land from Game Boy from a million years ago. I remember that.
Ooh, I just pre-ordered the Lego Game Boy they released, Sam.
Oh yeah.
I saw that, and it was like, I have never bought a Lego set, I think, so quickly when I saw that one announced. Yes,
Theodore Tibbet says, I've seen people describe it as punching through a mountain to access a room you could have walked around the mountain to open a door to. And it would take you the same amount of time to do both of those things.
But if I could punch through a mountain, obviously I'm going to punch through a mountain.
You do feel very strong. And everybody who you see is like, Donkey Kong, you're so fucking strong. You just feel like you are God, basically. You feel like you are the most leveled up character in a game at the beginning of the game. You know, it actually feels a lot like, do you ever play Hulk Ultimate Destruction?
Definitely not.
That was a PlayStation 2 game, I think, or 3, where you just like are Hulk destroying a town, and basically there's nothing bad that can happen to you because you just destroy everything and can rip rocks out of the ground and smash stuff up. It feels a lot like that, which is just satisfying. I wouldn't want every game to be like that, but every now and then.
I know some games like that can feel like gimmicky, like, oh, this is just the I get to destroy stuff game.
Yeah, this one feels like, it also feels a lot like a really good version of like Banjo-Kazooie, where you're meeting lots of cute things with eyes that tell you that they need help in different ways. So then you have to like pick up a rock and throw it at something really far over there, and then the flower says thank you and gives you a banana. And every time you get a banana, it goes, oh, banana.
Is that Donkey Kong saying that, or is that somebody else?
No, it's God or something. It's just,
God wants you to have bananas.
It's just the narrator somehow just says, oh, banana. And then you eat the big banana.
All right. Well, I'm sure I'll get a Switch 2 at some point. I'm not necessarily in a rush because I have not touched my Switch 1 in at least 6 months, I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
I think Switch 1 is my most played video game console of all time, just because you can take it out of the thing and play it.
Which I just never do, usually. I don't think I play enough handheld stuff to...
Yeah. I got deep into a Balatro hole, so that racked up my hours.
But yeah, I'll still keep working my way through Marvel, still keep working my way through Star Wars Outlaws. And, you know, I don't know how long these uninterrupted weird feeding time watch sessions will last. So I'm sort of embracing them while I have them. You know, at a certain point she starts to sleep longer or needs less help eating.
Yeah. But then she starts going to bed at like 7:30. And
right,
then just like, I got the whole night now.
Yeah.
But then you have to wake up at 4.
Yeah. Then you're also exhausted.
Do you see F1? when will you? Are you gonna watch F1?
Actually, I was just gonna talk about that because somebody asked in the chat if I had seen F1, and I wanted to answer a few questions from the chat before we get out of here. Sarah asked, "Will you watch the F1 movie when it comes to streaming?" That is because I have not seen it because, again, not going to theaters right now. I will. I have heard so many bad things that sound pretty much like what I was afraid it would be based on the trailers. So I don't think I'm in a rush to watch it because I think I'm going to like it. I think it's just, I'm curious enough that I will watch it.
Jason C. on Discord asked if you could blue sky a brand new Muppet attraction at Walt Disney World, what would it be? But I think for me, it would be changing that little section back there to where Rock and Roller Coaster is, to like their little film studio where you can go see Muppet Vision and they come out of the windows. I want them coming out of the windows everywhere and talking to you.
Yeah,
I've seen the Zootopia thing in Shanghai Disney, I think, where they come out like every hour and sing like a puppet, like a Zootopia song, and they're all puppets, and it's like, come on, get some puppets going. That would be just like a little world back there that they actually do right. Would be,
or just feels like, little Muppet touches where steam is coming out of a vent randomly, or you hear Gonzo screaming through a speaker, and just you feel the Muppet.
Right.
You feel like there's
and
Muppets
it could even
behind
be
every
themed
wall.
to like the 30s or whatever the rest of that street is. Like they could be, making old timey movies. Kermit could have those big director pants on. That'd be cool.
Similar to sort of our brainstorming big ideas. We also got asked, what Muppet productions are you most excited about eventually covering? Are there any productions that you are particularly unenthusiastic about? Taking this little break is interesting because it has sort of slowed down the momentum we had of like exploring the late 80s. And when we come back, we'll be talking a little bit more about Sesame Street stuff, but then getting into the Jim Henson Hour. So I think that right now, the Jim Henson Hour is my most anticipated thing to talk about because it's so unknown to me, but also it's the biggest thing we have left of Jim Henson's life to discuss. So I'm very curious to dive into that.
I can't wait to watch Muppets Go to Disney World, which I know you just watched, but that is, I watched that so much when I was a kid, and I'm unenthusiastic about the Ghost of Fafner Hall. I'm pretty unenthusiastic about.
Yeah, I think if you had asked me a couple years ago, I would have been maybe more optimistic because I thought there'd be some more undiscovered gems that people don't talk about. Like I was hopeful for Little Muppet Monsters to be this thing that's like, oh, real fans like Little Muppet Monsters. But I think there's a reason nobody talks about them is what I'm discovering. And
the problem with those is that when we talk about them, we always come up with like the alternative, better version of them. So sometimes in my head, I'm like, what do you talk about? Little Muppet Monsters kind of like, and I was like, oh yeah, we made that up.
Yeah, no, our good version of that sounds great.
Yeah.
But the show itself was kind of boring and bad. We got a couple of questions about the NECA Sesame Street figures. One, because it probably got cut out, but I did mention them earlier during the live stream a little bit. But mostly because they've been showing them off at Comic-Con this weekend as we're recording. I have the Bert, the Ernie, and the Count currently. I love them all. I don't know that I'll keep up with every figure because that will be expensive. Especially because I think Big Bird's going to be like $100 maybe.
Are you going to get Big Bird?
I have to get Big Bird. Big Bird comes with a season 1 head. As well, the Goofy Big Bird. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's some. I think they didn't have it at this Comic-Con, which is maybe worrying that they maybe aren't going to give it to him. But the last con that they showed it off at, which was like a toy fair or something, he had a season 1 head with his goofy little lack of feathers.
Oh wow!
But yeah, I'm excited by him. If Grover looks better in his final form, I might buy him. Yeah, he looks a little off model to me. Mr. Johnson is a must buy, I think, because it's.
I heard they're going to come in a 2-pack.
Okay,
so
I'll take
you might
that.
have to get both anyway.
I'll be disappointed if Grover looks like that in the 2-pack, but the Mr. Johnson looks perfect. I am building a foam brick wall to sort of display my figures behind. Because I don't have a ton of room for like a big play place or anything to put them in front of, and they haven't released a lot of props yet, but I want them to look nice. So yes, I love the NECA figures. They look so great.
I think Harry Monster looks really good.
Harry looks good. Oscar and Grover are the only two so far that I'm like,
Oh, I like the Oscar. I think he looks good. I have the Count. You got me the Count back there on my shelf.
Yeah.
I've never had a NECA thing before, and he's like so well made.
Yeah, they are very high quality. I like the materials. I did rip his little cape sleeve
His
hand
little nubby
loop thing.
Yeah.
Like a little like rubber band that they put around his wrist. Like the second time I moved his cape, that came right out, and I was like, "Well, okay." Thankfully, this cape is posable and can stay in place. But yeah, I think they look great. I'm excited to see what comes of it. I'm a little surprised that Elmo and Cookie Monster aren't there yet in the lineup, which I appreciate that they're including like Mr. Johnson. But
you got to have your big anchor guy and then release the little weird guys. Yeah.
But Cookie Monster not being in there feels like a big omission at this point. If you're looking at if you're going off of like early Sesame Street days, I would like some variants too. Like I know they have the variant head for Big Bird, but if you put Ernie in his season 1 sweater and make him a little flatter and goofy looking like head, I'd like that. But
that's how you get you, Matt. You're gonna get sucked in.
Yeah, a little bit. This is like I think being on the ground floor of a figure collection, it's very easy to want them all.
Yeah, you go, you buy one, or your wife says, "Oh, you should buy that He-Man and Skeletor. You really want them." Then you're like, "Surely this won't last 7 years." And 7 years later, you don't know what to do with any of it, Matt. Be careful.
Yep. But I think that kind of does it for catching up this week. This was a lot of fun. I had fun live streaming it. I was a little nervous at the beginning, but this was good. But the big question looming here, Sam, is you promised 2 surprises to end this episode.
Yeah.
What? I don't know what order you want to deliver these in, but
okay,
the floor is yours.
I'll deliver the one you already know about first. So next episode, I think I reserve the right, if it's a big disaster, to not ever release it.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
But I'm going to be recording a special 1 or up to like 5 off episode.
So different. 1 episode or 5 episodes
of a Muppet themed Dungeons and Dragons live play adventure with Sari Riley and Tuna Medish, our sound, or the person who made our music, and Nick Jenkins, who if you've listened to our stuff before, and then Amy Roberts, who's new to the podcast scene. I think has been on Real Bad before, actually, probably.
Well, she also is, like, I guess, like, to people who know us through Complexly things, she works at Complexly with us. She is many things at Complexly, but including a puppeteer on SciShow Kids.
Yes, for Squeaks. That's right. And
the
for
other duck.
The worm character in Juniper. And yeah, it's going to be the theme. The concept is that it's like a Muppet movie, except it's like a D&D adventure. So it's a world full of Muppets and people, because it's not true that all Muppet movies have one person and all Muppets. That's not true. So it's Muppets and other kind of non-Muppet creatures. But the main party is one person, one human, with a gang of Muppet friends who are going on a little adventure. So I still have some prep work to do. We're recording it tomorrow, and then hopefully it'll be up, I think, week after next or something. Like I'm going to try to get it out as fast as I can, but do a little bit of sound effect work to it and maybe make it sound nice. But yeah, so pray for me that goes well. I haven't run a D&D adventure in a long time.
I've known that you've wanted to do this for a long time, but I've
since we started the show, basically.
Yeah,
to do this.
Yeah. But I've had 0 part in making it exist. So I'm excited to listen to it.
Yeah, when we did the Tales of Tinker D, I think that's when I first had the idea of like, this is cool. This could be neat. So yeah, and then the other surprises. So for our wedding presents to each other, Rachel got me a Switch 2. This is really stupid, and I got my ear pierced. So I went yesterday.
Wait, is this your gift to her?
Yeah. She's like, I really want you to get your ear pierced. So I went to Claire's yesterday.
You went to Sam.
Was that the wrong place to go?
Yes. Claire's is the worst place.
It's fine. She knew what she was doing.
That is absolutely wild. You have never had a piercing or a tattoo before in your life, correct?
No, I haven't.
Well, as someone who has had 5 or 6 different piercings on his face, multiple tattoos.
5 or 6?
I had my tongue, my lip. I've had both ears twice. I had my cartilage done.
You had your tongue pierced?
Yeah, in high school.
Whoa. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I had many piercings in my face, and they're all gone now. I've taken them all out over the years.
Wow.
The stretched ears, I had 0 gauged ears for a while, and those were the last things to go.
Okay. Well, am I going to end up with a bunch of piercings now?
I can't imagine you would, but this would be a wild, like, sort of midlife crisis-y kind of thing if you just suddenly became a tattoo and pierced guy. I can't even really imagine.
That's more like Rachel's. It's Rachel's midlife crisis. She's imposing onto me.
Is this because she wants you to be more punk rock or more like Harrison Ford?
More like Harrison Ford,
Okay.
Definitely.
That's the vibe I was
Definitely.
getting.
That's the direction she was going with
Okay,
it.
cool. That's what I anticipated, but
Yeah.
Okay. Thankfully, that'll heal up. If you ever decide to take it out, it'll leave the tiniest little mark on your ear that no one will ever be like, "Did you have your ear pierced?"
When I was at the mall yesterday walking around afterwards, I was like, "Holy shit! Everybody has their ear pierced."
Yeah. No, it's
it was
not
really weird to notice.
Like when I got mine pierced for the first time in like 3rd or 4th grade, which is fucking crazy to say now that I'm a dad and looking at that idea. I had mine for so long, but mine was definitely in the era where immediately I was bullied for being gay. is what people thought,
right.
Or accused.
It was
me
hard
of.
when we were kids.
Yeah,
it was
especially when I got because I had both ears pierced.
Which ears pierced?
Exactly.
Your
For
right
those that don't
ear,
know, in the
you're
90s,
done
if you had your
for.
right ear pierced only, you were gay,
Yeah.
according to the world. Which is
crazy.
So I had a bunch of piercings, but that's very weird and exciting. And I don't know where you go from here with that, but you have that now.
I have it. I can put accessories in there.
You can dangle it like a little, pirate earring.
Treasure from the Black Pearl.
Or you could be like what's his face, Joe Road.
And have like huge
the Disney Imagineer who just like dangles
Disney
his keys off of it.
Yeah. That guy made a huge impression on me when I was a kid watching Disney Channel. Uh-oh, you froze. Well, Matt was frozen by some kind of array, but it was great to catch up with you guys. I've never closed out this show before, so let's see. Let me find the notes. So next week, after this is released, hopefully look forward to that D&D episode. If it never comes out, then you'll know that it was a big disaster and that I got too embarrassed to release it. But hopefully that won't be the case. I'm going to try really hard to make it happen. I'm not a good dungeon master, so if any of you have advice, go ahead and send it to me on the Discord if you got Discord access. And if you don't, go to Patreon and find the Kermitment Patreon and pledge to us. You get Discord access. You get some bonus live streams that we try to do every month, but it's harder to do now that Matt has a baby. It's just a good place to hang out. The Discord is great. The D&D episode, at least the first one, will be released on the regular stream. I think if it goes on beyond that, I'll have to see what Matt's deal with his baby and his return plan is. But I'll just probably end up releasing it on the mainstream to make up for Matt not being around. But we'll get back on the horse soon. We talk about it all the time. We're not going away or anything like that. But yeah, we'll be back with regular episodes sooner than you realize. But until then, I'll try to fill the gap with D&D podcasts. So we got to go without Matt. So here's my first time doing the outro. We got to thank our friend Tuna for making the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. Don't forget to go to Kermitment.com for all your Kermitment needs. Merch, pictures of our trip to Disney World. Matt's always making this site better. Matt does so much work. I don't tell him that enough, but he's really he loves to do work and I hate to do work, which is a great combo. So he's made the website look very good. And while you're listening to the podcast, don't forget to rate and review us on the platform of your choice, please. It helps us get seen by algorithms. It helps people hear about the show. You can leave comments on Spotify. So do everything you can and we'll be famous. If you'd like to get in touch, you can email us at mail@kermitment.com or follow us in more places on social media at KermitmentPod and at kermitment.com on Blue Sky. And you can always follow Matt at Matthew Gatos on various social media sites. And I'm Sam Schultz on various social media sites. And as always, keep pretending.